Hi, I'm Victor Gemov. Imagine you have a Kafka topic, you want to read messages from it, do some work on them, and write the result in another Kafka topic. In this Kafka tutorial, I will show you how you can transform a stream of events using plain old producer and consumer API. So let's get to it. Alright, we're at the Kafka Tutorials website and we're looking at producer-consumer API, also known as vanilla API. So let's create a folder where we'll put all our code and our files there. It's good to be organized. Next thing is that we need to bring all components of Confluent platform that we need to use for this tutorial, namely Zookeeper, Kafka, and Schema registry. This Docker Compose file already have everything pre-configured, so you don't need to worry how to run all these components or how to configure them so they will connect to each other. And after that, we will start all these containers by running Docker Compose up. Next thing, we need to create this build.gradle file that will include our dependency definition, how to compile all this code, how to bring the Avro compiler, and so far and so on. We will execute this Gradle wrapper command that will generate this small component called Gradle wrapper that allows you to execute these builds in the machines which might not have Gradle installed. Next thing, we're going into the configuration folder, creating configuration folder, and creating first a configuration for our development. That will be using our local Confluent platform stack that runs inside Docker Compose. So in this case, we're going to be using Bootstrap server and Schema registry URL that point to these components, to this Docker Compose. Our topic will have a schema, input topic and output topic will have a schema. So we'll create a ever schema file at input movie event that will define the structure of the movie in the basic fields. So in this tutorial, we're going to be calling this raw movie because it will include some of the raw data that not parsed. So we will use this one to transform. So second schema that we create called parsed movie, and we define the structure of the movie after transformation. The goal of this tutorial is to take raw movies and transform them into parsed movies and split title. In our raw movie title will have a title and year. In our parsed movie, we will put this year in a separate field. So next thing, let's build this. When we run this Gradle build, it also will execute Avro compiler that will generate Java classes from our schema. So next thing, we need to create two files. One file will include actual transformation logic that we will use Kafka Producer Consumer API, and we will read raw movies and produce them in to output after we perform transformation. So we can copy, paste, and save. Second thing that we need to create our runner. So essentially our application where we'll have a public static void main, where we have a code that will reading our configuration, that will create topics. Always remember, you don't know if topics are existed there. So you always need to make sure that you're creating topic for your configuration, so far so on. And after that, it will instantiate the separate thread where our transformation logic will be executed. Next, let's compile this everything in one big fat jar, also known as a shadow jar, Uber jar. This jar will include all dependencies, and this jar will be executable. So only thing that you will be needing to run this is just the Java and this jar. We execute this application code against our development environment, which is our laptop that runs Docker Compose. Next, we will switch to another terminal window. And where we execute our console producer. In this tutorial, we're also providing you with command how you can execute a console producer that will write some data in our input topic. Remember, in our input topic, title will include year of the movie. So this is what you can see here on your screen. So next thing, once we're done producing, we can click Control C, and after that we can switch to Kafka console consumer. So we can check if our transformation successfully executed. We see the title and year now separated, and this is how we successfully transformed one event into another using Kafka producer and consumer API. And that's it. Hopefully, this helped you to learn how you can transform a stream of events and put the result in a new topic. I will see you on the next one, and as always, have a nice day.